Welcome back, one and all, to the Salt Mine Pod as we continue and pick off right where we left off with North American Challengers League group stage qualifiers coverage. This time, folks, we are getting to the big time hitting matchups. It is Team Fish Taco, the 4th committee seed, versus Lotus, the 5th committee seed, calling all the way back to the Swiss stage. But now they get to play for an official spot in the playoffs, a spot that Bonfire, both these teams, honestly, in their minds, are expected to make. And for a team like Team Fish Taco, they have to make it to the playoffs. They have to make a big run in this second qualifier in general.
Mixture, and Porsche. I mean, these are the household names if you're a fan of the tier two or tier three League of Legends scene in North America. So it'll be very exciting to see how these two teams match up. And I'm especially excited because way back in the first OQ, when it was just starting a year and a half, 2 years ago, I had an opportunity to cast for Team Fish Taco, which at the time was Doyen Tony Top or TikTok Tony Top, and they made it all the way. It was a really fun team, and both me and Yarko had an opportunity to talk about some of these players in the meta that they were in, and we could see where they were getting their strength from. I'm really excited to see not only Team Fish Taco but also Lotus, where they're going to be getting their strength from, and how they're going to play these matches out, because the meta constantly evolving, constantly changing. I feel like we're seeing something new every single day.
Certainly feels that way, right? we are
Yeah.
we are evolving a lot in this meta. And, I'm trying to figure out behind the scenes how to figure out these point situations because this is, to be honest with you, one of the more confusing parts about
Oh yeah.
the qualifier, especially when we get to the second part because that's when you figure out who can lock in promotion based off those first seeded amount of teams. Interesting part is with Blue Otter making just the playoffs part of this second qualifier, they have officially actually landed themselves in the promotion tournament because they took over the
Oh.
Aporia roster that finished first in OQ1. So with that many points, you get that whole 120 points. You just making the promotion tournament means, or excuse me, the next playoffs means you make the promotion tournament. Obviously, they'll have to battle for seeding. They're still going to play through here. But for teams like Lotus, right, who did also finish top 4, they end up finishing with 80 points from the OQ1. They're in a pretty prime position here, especially to, qualify for that promotion tournament bonfire if they could just win this matchup against Team Fish Taco just to get to that playoffs, right? Because from there, you realistically, with the points you've already gathered, only really need to take like maybe a one series win to at least lock a spot in that coveted tournament.
Yeah, it all gets very technical. I think honestly, you broke it down perfectly. For me, I think that for both of these teams, it's a bit of a grudge match because you can talk about, the points, you could talk about advancing, and obviously that's very important. But I think realistically, you're not going to make it very far, even if you do make it to the next stage, if you can't win these matchups, if you can't beat the best of the best. And so, who's in, who's not, again, I'll leave that up to you. It seems like you got your handle on this a little bit better than I do. But for me, I'm just looking at this matchup, and no matter if whichever these teams is locked already, both of them recognize that even if they lose and they've already made it to the next stage, it's not a good look. You have to beat the best of the best, and for both of these teams, I think these are the best of the best. So I think it'll be a good matchup no matter what. I don't think anybody's going to be holding strats back or trying strange picks. I think we're going to see some really insane, really fun League of Legends tonight. I hope so, at least.
I mean, I would certainly agree, right? Is I think we're in a spot for some awesome League of Legends, but I do want to, as we have some more time, talk about like the flip side here, because obviously a matchup like this brings some level of pressure. It's a spot to get yourself all the way through GSL, which can get like really grueling if you ever end up down in the lower bracket of your group, right? So both these teams they took a win over their respective opponents in round one. Lotus did actually have to go to 3 games up against Relune GG. Team Chief Taco 2-0 dispatch BlackRock Esports. But for Team Fish Taco, because they finished 6th in that last qualifier, the rule of thumb that you kind of get around qualifiers is if you're not finishing top 4 in the first OQ, you kind of need to win the second one to
Yeah.
likely get a spot in. Obviously, there are some variables, right? If a team that finishes really high kind of flames out early, switches an org like we've seen, and it ends up falling flat. Like there's a lot of things that come away from it. But that's the general rule of thumb I've heard over the last couple years covering these qualifiers. And Team Fish Taco, that's kind of why Bonfire they made those roster adjustments to, in a lot of ways, just recreate a team that a year ago did actually end up qualifying for that for not even the promotion tournament. They ended up qualifying, I believe, technically for NACL, the old Tony Top roster, which is now TFT in all of its glory.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing, right? You can bring in as many great players as you want. I mean, this goes for all levels of League of Legends. You can create the super team, but realistically, the thing that matters the most is that chemistry. And this Team Fish Taco roster has the chemistry. When they made it all the way to the NACL and then unfortunately had to disband, I think a lot of people were disappointed because of how well they were playing off of each other. And so that's why hopes are so high for this TFT squad. They're bringing back that glory days, they're bringing back that chemistry, and they're no longer messing around with, this player seems really good right now, or this player's next up. It's these five guys who gel really well together. They play really well off of each other. They have a clear understanding of who's the carry, who's the front line, and I feel like that remains true with this TFT roster. Now, a lot has changed, I'd imagine, in the year that since they were doing Tony Top. So I would not expect to see Tony Top on his signature Camille, at least in this meta. But it does seem like they have a really good understanding of where they should all slot in. And I think, again, that's why everybody's so excited about this team. And it's going to take all of that chemistry to be able to topple Lotus because Lotus, they're no slouches either. They've been together a while. These are some really good players. It's chemistry versus chemistry. It's strength versus strength. It's a great matchup.
Yeah, I mean, Lotus, you got guys like Forsen, who we're calling Forsen now. He used to be Psycho. If you've been around the scenes, he's been with us for a while, but they definitely bolstered their roster too. Bringing in Robbie Bob off of I believe he was playing with BlackRock in the first OQ, and that kind of collapsed despite their pretty high finish. So switches over to Lotus, and you bring in the Odd Orange, who is fresh off. I believe he's fully graduated through Maryville at this point. So
Yeah.
he's now available to play for any of these other qualifier teams. He lands under Lotus. Porsche was formerly played a lot with this bottom lane for Team Fish Taco. You got Snow and Levitate. Those three as a group actually made the promotion tournament and nearly qualified for the NACL under Team Ambition just about not even a year ago. I think that was summer qualifiers of last NACL qualifiers. So there's definitely a lot of familiarity. These are no puns intended, nothing, no jokes aside, like all that aside. These are two rosters that are filled with players that have either seen the promotion tournament, seen above the promotion tournament, or have gotten darn close in their time at this level.
Yeah, yeah, and that's why we're all so excited about it. So, um, if you're hanging out in the chat and you're wondering why these two guys are yapping so much, we are waiting on the I believe Tony Top, and maybe Sudsy as well, but I think Sudsy should be in soon. So, oh no, Sudsy's in spectate. So we're just waiting on Tony Top and Snow 2 Forever the Goat saying he is in the building. So we will get this match going soon because we can only glaze these two teams so much, I think. But it is, I think we're setting the stage, right? That's in my mind. If you're just tuning in or if you don't know the stakes for this, I hope we're kind of getting you excited as we are because as I messaged Slayer earlier today, I'm a little tired, didn't get a ton of sleep, but I would be a fool to not get an opportunity to cast this game. This is probably the game of the OQ so far, or at least up there. So it should be a really, really good one.
Yes, I mean, I I definitely think it is from a talent perspective. I'm always more
Oh
of a
yeah.
fan of those elimination matches because I think they add an extra couple of spice. Which does remind me, the other side. This is the Group D, so we're on the upper bracket side of this.
Hmm.
If while we're at break, maybe our game isn't going on. Make sure to go over to Running the Rift. We love those guys over there running their stream. I believe it is Orbital and Shibi on that cast. They are covering the lower bracket side. So they've got BlackRock Esports versus Reilluminate GG, which is very fun as well because those two teams were 15 and 16 seeded. So like they were barely slotted to make it in the eyes of the committee. And they will now be battling out for just the opportunity to play for a spot. That's what the lower bracket is. They have another best of 3 ahead of them if they need it. So make sure to show love there to Running the Rift as well. I know they're up live. If you want to look at another promotion matchup for today, we have Salty Runback, who's going with the other banger talent-based matchup. That would be CCG Esports taking on Ole Miss, which
Mm.
is, I mean, just a battle of collegiate, and then Bradley's return with a stacked roster on CCG. That's really fun. And then I believe the only other matchup that I know is going on is over at Aegis. Pretty certain that would be, make sure I have my Wings Revengers Castleberry. So that's another elimination matchup going on. Yeah, so the other side of Group C. So while we get things sorted on the side of the lobby with Team Fish Taco
Hmm.
Lotus, I'm going to throw us up to a break. Don't leave the Salt Mine stream. That will upset me, but what I want you to do is pull up those other community streams so you get a full grasp of how Tier 3 North American Challengers League qualifiers are looking. And we will be back from the break with the game number 1 draft. Team Fish Taco on blue side, Lotus on red side. We'll see you guys in just a bit. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Long awaited here. Quick TLDR. It looks like Tony Top did not have the right TR account downloaded, and he doesn't have the greatest internet, so it took him forever to download things. And Rally Cry staff ended up stepping in and saying that this game had to start, or it would be a 1-0 lead to Lotus. Even with that, it is a 2-ban penalty over to Team Fish Taco for the amount of time they've taken. You can see the fact that they are not banning anything at all through these first 2 bans. Also, Bonfire, because Tony Top still did not get in, Coach Gito has to step in and play game 1 at the top side. So that kind of completely changes the series. I can't lie.
I know. Hey, Porsche said in chat he did not prep for Jito. Who knows? Yeah,
That's
this
fair.
completely skews everything. Jito obviously did not expect to be in this position. I don't even know what Jito plays. I don't know if it doesn't seem like top is his main role. I think he's probably a support main. So we're just all over the place. We've got a support coach in the top lane. We're missing
Yes.
Tony Top, who's like was their namesake for a while. So a little all over the place. But that doesn't mean the series is over. That doesn't mean that they're going to lose this game instantly. It just is going to make it a lot harder for them. And realistically, if I had to put my money where my mouth is, I'm going Lotus for game 1.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. We are getting through the picks and bans here. So the one ban that Tifa's Taco got, they threw onto Vi. Take that one out of the way. Smolder was taken away by the side of Lotus. They don't want to give that big B1 over. Ash also a ban. Karma's gonna be locked in. That's a pretty standard B1. And if you can't tell, the Jito wasn't ready to play, look at his summoners.
Yeah,
He'll
I
change them.
basically just called in last minute. They're having some fun now. Gito was saying that he wanted Nautilus and Rakan top, so I think they're just memeing a little bit because let's waste some more time, guys. Right? Like we're only 50 minutes late. I'm surprised that they're not just instantly locking in the Senna here. I feel like Senna's been a staple of the bans, and the fact that they lost 2 bans and had to leave Senna up, I feel like you want to go Senna here, but they obviously don't feel comfortable, at least right now. I don't think Senna Veras is the move either, so maybe they're just not going to go Senna.
They might not, and so far they are getting 2 pretty big meta picks that I like a lot here. They land the Varus there for Forsen, aka Psych. I'm just gonna call him Forsen because he changed names for a
Golf
reason.
Force. Yeah.
Volibear locked in as well. I like that because it's a bit of flexibility. Recently got buffed, so it makes him a bit more powerful, not only as a champion, but allows you to kind of flex him to the jungle if you want. Send him top. I'm sure Porsche and Auto Orange have been scrimming a lot of reps on that champion. So I love those 2 picks. Aggressive bottom lane, though, getting locked in here for Levitate and Snow, who are trying to prove that. I know a lot of doubters have talked about that they can, in big time matchups, struggle in the laning phase specifically. So, what better way to try and show that they can go blow to blow with anybody with Renata, Callista, Bonfire?
Yeah, it's one of the strongest bot lanes that you could go. That early Renata is, or that early Callista is just so strong. The trading is pretty absurd, and you get that execute with the Rend. So a very strong bot lane. I think they're going to be really happy about being able to get that, even with the bans that they're missing. And obviously it's swinging back around at them, and Lotus really having their pick of the litter. I think the Volibear is probably one that would have normally been banned away. We've casted matches before, you and I, where the Volibear just heals up a million. And I think with some certain items on this champion, you can really just tank so much damage and heal up so much. And so I'm surprised it went through, but also they didn't have the bans to get rid of it. So this is what Lotus gets. They're able to get themselves the Volibear. I'm a little surprised that they decided to go Melio. I know Melio is very strong, but into a 3 ranged and not really anybody that's going to be flying at Robbie Bub or a mixture. I don't know. I think it's more to go alongside the Varus potentially, but as a whole, right now, if the draft ended and it was a 3v3, I don't think I'd like the Melio.
I think it's not the normal pairing. I agree. I do still. I like it as long as this is an on hit Varus because I think
Yeah.
any champion that relies on auto attacks as their primary source of damage, sustained damage, all the above, benefit from Melia, right? So, and Varus is that is an auto attack based carry when he goes that on hit route. So, getting that range buff, added attack speed, especially the cozy campfire over top when you're going to want those extended fights. I don't hate it, as I think that was a meme hover, by the way, the Nautilus,
100%.
just to show off. We did get through that second phase of Advanced though Bonfire. Jungle target, Amazo's pool got pinched there by Lotus, and a mid lane centric kind of pinch coming through for Robbie Bob. No, that guy loves the Victor. So
I'll tell you what though, if you're Porsche and you have to go into a sub support, Olaf is not taking it easy. Olaf is not
oh,
saying, "I'm going to go easy on you." Olaf is saying, "I want to carry this game in case my team doesn't do so well." And Olaf can 100% do that. Has the Melio alongside him to shield and buff him up. And I mean, need I say more? It's just one of the strongest top laners that you can go in terms of trading. And I think Jito's got his work cut out for him. We'll have to see what they throw him on.
oh,
I think you could potentially go Malphite here as that's interesting, a Malzahar. So they want to take Sudsy off a carry potential, and they really just want to lock somebody down. Jax!
oh,
Maybe it's a you know what? Maybe it's a
uh,
callback to the Jax spot.
oh. I mean, there's
No,
no
they're
way he
not.
locks
They
down
won't
up.
go team
Yeah,
up.
they're
There's
probably
not
gonna
a
put him on tank duty, I would assume, something like that. That would be the most aggro response humanly possible. A Warwick, the barrier top solo queue
Whoa.
Warwick. They locked the
Whoa!
Graves
Oh,
in.
it might be a Karma
And it's
top.
Karma. It honestly could be Malzahar top too. Okay, so Karma top is. I don't hate that response to Olaf. I think Karma top can really nullify early game Olaf as long as you space correctly.
Yeah, Karma's top is not something that's unheard of. I think we've seen it in prior seasons. It's annoying. It's a range top laner, and you're not going to be carrying the game late with damage. But you do have those shields. You're very strong. I mean, it's the whole idea of why you go Karma mid and Karma top and Enchanter mids, or yeah, Enchanter supports mids and top because you just get even more shielding and even more healing, and it's just like a good multi tool, a Swiss Army knife, if you will. So I don't hate it, especially for somebody who doesn't play a lot of top, just farm bot top lane and don't really engage with Porsche. I will say I do think Olaf's pretty good into a Karma once you hit 6. I think that's the big break point because you can just run through everything that Karma has to offer to slow, to root anything that Karma has to space. And this Karma is going to have a bad time. So it's crazy that I'm prepping for a coach here, but Gito really needs to get at least a little bit ahead and build a little bit of a buffer before Porsche just goes crazy.
And it looks like Jito is rocking Ignite top, so he wants to try and
Oh,
put Porsche down as quickly and early as possible in this one, which will be very, very fun to watch. You know, not the scenario you want to be in if you're a TFT fan, TFT in general, but they've certainly gotten creative with the draft. I can admire that. I because when you're in these situations, right? There's like two things that can happen in my mind. It's you stick to super meta champions and just try to have that sub play something like that, right? And get, accustomed, comfortable. Or you kind of create around what you know their strengths are. I don't think Jito is a top lane player. From what we saw in the chats when he was playing support player, right? Because he talked about the knowledge, talked about the Rakan, and now he's playing Karma top, right? So probably plays a lot more support, played support in his heyday as well. So why not cater to him in that realm to at least try and have somewhat of an even footing game given the composition, right?
yeah, no, it's not a bad position to be in. I think we'll say that.
Certainly cannot be, but it is not the greatest position to be in for T-Fish Talk. On the other side, we saw that Lotus rounded out their comp with the Hui. Love that pick up there, especially against the Malzahar. You can outrange him. Robbie Bob going to be a big time late game threat with that one. I see lethal tempo on Forsen, so that's an on hit Varus. Amelia really helps scale up there, so got the ability to front to back pretty well here with some long range damage if you are Lotus. Pretty great draft.
Yeah, I think so. I think that we will have to see because I think both of these teams have a specific game style that they want to play to, and they have a specific way that they want to play these games out. So it's just going to come down to being able to execute. Like I said earlier, we're talking about this like nothing, like this is business as usual. I'd like to reiterate, Team Fish Taco playing with the sub coach support in the top lane in one of the most important matches of the year. So you kind of do have to take this into consideration. But in terms of damage mitigation, this is probably the best case scenario they could have hoped for. So we'll have to see if they can get the W and if they can get this win against all the odds. And if not, we'll have to, it'll just come down to their resilience and if they can find it within them to uh, get Tony Top back and kind of work out from there. But obviously, the game still has to be played. That still has to be on the cards. So you never know. I think crazier things have indeed happened. Cloud Nine, I guess I'm not going to get into Cloud Nine. That was a
Yeah,
stupid.
that was a tangent we
Yeah,
went
we don't
through.
have time for
Yeah, yeah, no,
that.
well, we definitely have time to wait, unfortunately, folks. I know you've been sitting through a lot of breaks. We've been
We don't
going
have a
through it
pause
here.
to it.
I'm pretty certain, looking as the production wizard here for the Salt Mine right now, and a play-by-play, we do have a pause, which means that we can't even start the spectate delay that I need to put in for integrity's sake until I know the pause is done. So we're gonna go to a break. Hopefully nothing game-breaking happens. Well, now that we're on to Summoner's Rift, we'll see you guys after our good old-fashioned integrity check comes across. Game number 1, certainly not what we expected, but a game that still has to be played. Can Lotus take advantage of the situation? We'll find out in just a couple of minutes, hopefully. Ladies and gentlemen, we're finally on to Summoner's Rift. No more issues. We've gone through our delay for integrity's sake. Boy, do we have it in Dream Game number 1. Karma top, Gito having to step in for Tony top. Can Team Fish Taco overcome this issue? Well, they're going to try to with a level 1 here onto Porsche. And Gito, he's going to flash for the root. He's going to get the root as well through the ghost. That Olaf does not have flash. Gito from the coach's role to Summoner's Rift just got Team Fish Taco first blood.
What is going on? Because it wasn't a crazy play that somehow worked. That was the play. That was the correct play from Gito. Porsche just not able to use his ghost to get far enough out. Gets rooted. Gets taken down. And just like that, TFT 500 gold up. Blink and you miss it. Look, if you're tuning in from anywhere else and you're like, oh, I wonder how the TFT Lotus match is going. A sub coach just flashed and rooted and killed his lane opponent. It's just, you love to see it.
And I'm curious if we are actually technically still having issues here because Levitate is still not moving.
Oh,
and there's the riot freeze bug. Okay, so we know about this one. Okay, I can at least, you know, I can at least control at least this part of it, right? So we know for a fact that this is just the riot freeze bug coming through. Throw us back onto cameras very quickly though. Just talk everything over. Yeah, I'm gonna make you sit up on fire while we wait through this, but
it's my relaxing, comfy chair, you know.
I mean, to talk about the game state, right? I mean, you know, the karma pick.
You know, a minute and 35 seconds.
Yes, but the karma pick had to bully this Olaf early. You said so, and
yeah,
we're here, baby. It's the real deal.
It was, like I said, not a fluke that happened. It was 100% the correct move. It was what Gito needed to do in that situation. And again, like sometimes you flash in a place and the opponent gets a little confused, but Gito did exactly what Gito needs to do. Hey, he's a coach, you know, just built differently, I guess. He's got that brain on him. So, TFT getting a little bit of an early lead. Blink and you miss it. This team without Doyen Tony top is leading.
Yeah, they're leading, and I double checked to make sure the game is still going. Like there isn't a pause, so we don't get anywhere close to the live feed. It's still going, and Levitate has not moved. I don't know what's happening at all. So I quite literally think Team Fish Taco is playing 4v5 to avoid further penalties.
I mean,
that's what it looks like.
Yeah, I cannot disagree with you there. It does indeed seem like that. And if you're Lotus, look, at a certain point, you just kind of have to. You want to be good sports. You don't want to impose too many penalties. I get it, but at a certain point, and this is exactly what they're doing, which is the correct move. You just kind of got to abuse it. You can't, if you lose this game, like Gito, you know, tried to make happen, then it's just this horrendous thing where you were the nice guys the whole time, and then suddenly you're now a game back. So I like it. I like that Forsen and Mixture are doing the right move, and they're abusing the bot lane without. I think that is the correct thing to do. And if you don't think that so, I think you're wrong.
I don't know what you're talking about, man. I'm watching Snow out trade Forsen on Renata right now, so I think Snow's doing just fine. Yeah, I don't fully understand what's going on, and this does completely make casting this game very awkward because they quite literally don't have an AD carry. They're 4v5 and Odd Orange and Mixture. I like this call for Mixture, I guess. He's like, okay, well, we know it's a 1v1 in the bottom lane where their support's the only one catching waves. I just double up with the Odd Orange, but now we got Gito, who's running all the way down. He's forcing flashes now, baby. Robbie Bob having to flash away. And Team Fish Taco doesn't give a crap that they're down 4v5 right now. They're even in gold, at least.
Yeah. They are even in gold because of that early kill. I think that my thing is, do you buy a farming item? Do you sell your support item if you're Snow too? How long is this gonna go on for? Is my question. Because at a certain point, you might have to. Also, I mean, you'd have to imagine they're expecting Levitate to come back soon-ish. or they would just FF this. Assuming they can, the rules get really weird sometimes. Oh God, what the hell is going on?
I do not know. All I know is that this is because I know, you know, we having access to, you know, these TR accounts, getting to watch these games live. Got to make sure to keep the integrity up, right? And I just know for a fact, I keep double checking Bonfire that they have not paused. We don't catch up the live feed. They haven't. They are still going through with this game state. And you know, the problem is like, if this was Levitate playing like a scaling AD, like maybe there's some way that like you can come back and farm your way back into this. But Callista is such an early game AD carry that this just stinks.
I think that any hope, I mean, Jito's playing pretty decently so far, but any hope that even with a sub top laner, they had any chance into this probably puts that to rest. I mean, barring a historic collapse from Lotus here, even if they just throw numbers at the issue, they will win because they have 5 people and the enemy has 4. And you obviously didn't get to see it if you're just watching the stream. They were joking about having a Jack spot when Tony Top wasn't there. I think that they should have just taken the Jack spot at this point. I think that a Jack spot probably would have been better.
Well, I assume the hope is here that Levitate's doing everything he can to get his internet back up. That is the issue. I don't know if we touched on it, that Levitate's internet went out quite literally as they loaded in the game, which is just so unfortunate, right? But
yeah.
I think they're, at this point, they're just hoping that Levitate can get back in time for this game to be salvageable. And if not, I don't know. It's a tough spot to be in.
I don't know, Slayer. I mean, it just seems unrealistic at this point. Down 50 CS to your counterpart. You're level 1. Your counterpart's level 5. I just don't. Even if they come back right now, see it happening. And the gold difference isn't that crazy, but you're also on 80 carry.
Yeah.
You're on 80 carry. It's unfortunate. So we'll see how game 2 goes. I mean, we'll watch this game out. Might as well. I got nowhere else to be. But I think we're already planning. At least I'm already planning to see how game 2 goes.
Yeah, I mean that's fair, right? Because
they're
it's a 4v5. And even if
how's your day going?
well, even if Levitate comes back, right? I'm curious if Odd Order just doesn't just spam gank bot. Okay, wait. Is Levitate back alive? I'm waiting for him to buy items.
Connected. Yeah, I saw that.
I'm waiting for him to buy items.
Still has to kill Snow too, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, so too. All right. Odd Order flashes and stuns a minion. Hits him with the thumbs up and lets Snow walk away. I mean, Odd Order just knows that this is.
I'd pay good money to be in the voice call right now.
You know, unfortunately, I think this is just going to be an FF at 15. By the way, I think they're going to play it till
15.
I don't know. I don't for sure know the rally cry forfeit rules, but
that's my thing is I have no clue what the rules are. Like, could they just not FF it right now, or can they FF it ever? I'm just not sure. But I guess we will see soon enough. You'd imagine, at least, as the gold lead continues to grow. I can't do my color stuff. This is just impossible to do color right now.
What do you mean? You weren't prepared to analyze a 4v5 where we have a coach subbing in top on the team with 4 people?
I can't say I was. I cannot say I was ready to do that, as Force and Mixture say thank you very much and grab themselves the bot tower. By the way, Porsche has established his lead in the top side. Like I said earlier, once it hits 6, Porsche should really dominate this lane, and that is indeed what's happening. And honestly, it's kind of a blessing that he hasn't been able to kill Jito yet. We got a message saying that Levitate is reconnected.
I'm assuming he's got the worst type of internet issues where it's fluctuating.
Yeah.
That's.
As Slayer knows, I have that issue sometimes, so I can feel for you, man.
I'm sure everybody can certainly feel for it. Here's some analysis we can make. Porsche, I like that itemization going for a Hex Drinker up against the Karma top first. That's It's a good pick to go for. I do like the Cole as well for Porson, knowing that he's quite literally just playing Farming Simulator this game. As we might have a gate going across. There's the Suppression Malzahar ultimate. They're trying to burn through. Robbie Bob gets hit with another hostile takeover, and Amazo will find the kill. So despite the given state of the game, Team Fish Taco are the only ones who have kills.
Oh!
Oh! Levitate's back!
Wait,
Oh, my.
Oh. Came back, bought Berserkers and a dagger, and dipped.
No! Oh, Levitate, no. He got a buy-in. He got Berserkers and a dagger, and then he pieced out again. This
Level
is such
1, by the way.
I mean, yeah, that's just what it is. Team Taco, they don't have the Malzahar ult. They don't have hostile takeover. They're still forcing flashes as Forsen has to burn Ghost Flash to get away. Nearly kills off Jito, but will return back to his turret safely. And I gotta admire the hustle from Team Taco, man. At least they're going for plays, given everything.
Don't look bot lane.
Yeah,
Oh goodness. Yeah, look, you gotta respect it. I have no clue what's happening. It seems like they're playing it out and they want to see if they can do something, I guess. Look, you know, you get a big team fight win.
Oh, he's back again. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. I'm
Is
just so enamored by if he's gonna actually move or not.
He's not moving. He moved a little bit when he came
Oh,
back.
he's on Sonars. Oh my God. All right.
It's here. 5v5.
It's 5v5.
Level 1 Callista.
I mean, is
100 CS difference.
Is this where we say like a crazy statement? Like, if TFT win this game, I will blank, because like this is
I'm down.
Well,
if TFT win this game, I will shave my head.
You will shave your head.
I've been growing my hair out for a year. This would be a disaster.
You will shave your head. Can we get a recorded video for content on the Salt Mine of you shaving your head?
I am that confident that if TFT, I will do it live on the Salt Mine Pod Twitch.
Live shaved bonfire head.
There's just no way it's happening. I'm that confident.
Okay, okay. Well, I mean, the fighting's sticking off. Gino's just dead. Death Brush works out for Porsche. Good roots from Robbie Bob. So first kill for Lotus, given everything, by the way.
What are you going to do? I feel like I put a lot on the line here. What would you do?
You know, I think you put enough on the line for both of us. I think I'm...
No, I don't think so. I actually don't think so. I don't actually agree with that statement.
I will shave my beard in solidarity.
Ooh. That's not that crazy, but I will still want to see it.
Listen, man.
Listen,
I don't got a lot of hair to sacrifice, all right, up top. So I don't really want to make that. I don't want to make that.
How about this? If this is a crazy one, you ready for this?
Oh no.
If Lotus wins this game, you buy a Dak Prescott jersey.
I buy a Dak Prescott jersey?
Yeah.
Am I allowed to burn it right after?
Nope. Have to wear it for an entire cast.
You know what? Sure. I mean, why not?
It's not gonna happen. It's not.
It might. I don't know. I apologize to everybody watching at home who's had to deal with this commentary. We're just completely baffled at the game state got here. Back to the gameplay, though. Snow is going to die to get an amazing hostile takeover off that does actually get Forsen killed off. Amazo is quietly 3-0 on his Graves. Yeah. And I can hear the Razors turning on in the background.
Yeah, get that bank account ready. Look, it's great. It's huge. It's good for the Graves. It's Malzahar's picks also doing some good work, quietly. And then you look bot lane and you're like, oh goodness gracious, this is an Olaf that we haven't seen ult yet. We have no clue how the Olaf's going to do into us. So that's kind of where I keep going with it whenever I'm like, you know, maybe. But let's be realistic here. Let's be totally real here. I guess, you know what this actually is? This is how broken is Graves. This is the how broken is Graves game. Can Graves 1v9 with 3-0? We'll have to see.
I just wanted to go to the levitate cam. He is freezing the wave to make sure that he doesn't get punished for farming, which is really smart, actually. So
only 2 levels behind Forsen, by the way.
Yeah, he also is Flame Horizoned, so.
Yeah, that's kind of going to be the tough part of it, is the CS difference. But the fact that he's actually fairly close in level is a little absurd.
Yeah, you know, I tend to agree. I will say he's gotten solo XP on like well, it's because the minions are way higher level than normal, right?
Yeah,
so
it makes sense. It does make sense. It's just a little bit like he was level 1 when Forsen was level 7 or 8. and I mean, he's now only 3 levels behind. It's kind of crazy. But like you said, it's not just the level, is it? It's also the fact that he is over 100 CS behind.
I will say, we might have Snow getting picked off here. Auto Orange flashes to get the stun onto him. Flash away from Snow, piercing arrow forces the bailout through, and Snow will die to the Auto Orange. Just try to get some vision. Good pick there by Lotus.
What were you gonna say something before?
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say that. Sorry, Taco. They do have a lot of great wave clear to like kind of stall a game out. Obviously, Baron would throw a wrench in it, but Karma and Malzahar can really clear waves once they have items behind them. So
Yeah, that is true. That is 100% true. And Callista's no slouch either once you buy Runans. So you never know. You never know. God, I really don't want to shave my head. I'm like the biggest Lotus supporter right now because of that one bet we put.
we can always just say we're memeing.
No,
we're pretty locked in.
I think we're locked in here. Yeah, we're locked in here. We'll have to see. I think the only solace I'd get with shaving my head is that I could watch you be so angry while wearing a Dak Prescott jersey.
I mean, I already have a loophole in my mind to kind of rectify it.
You would get a Dak Prescott college jersey, wouldn't you?
No. I would commit to that part. It's just we'll save that conversation for outside.
No, if it happens, yeah, if it happens,
right? Because, like you mentioned, a lot of that standing gold's already been taken away, and Lotus are up like 6,000 gold. So
yeah.
They get. I'm curious what soul they're also about to get. It looks like, oh, of course, it's a Hextech soul.
Hex soul. Oh, jeez. It just had to be, didn't it? It just had to be.
It just had to happen.
Yeah. Remember I was talking about how Levitate was doing a good job of staying fairly close with levels? He's been pretty stagnant on level 6. I mean, once he was unable to freeze the wave bot, it's been kind of a horror show. As it's going to be a knockdown on the turret, but not knock it down all the way.
Stand up tall, baby.
Yeah. Turret stands the test of the Rift Herald. And we continue this weird little dance.
It's turning into NA Ram, for sure. Lotus really just want to knock down this mid-tier 1. I understand why. You get a really great vision line if you knock it down. Horse trying to get a flank is going to find a way under-leveled Snow and just gets deleted. I mean, that was 3 autos from Porsche that killed off Snow. Now going to turn their attention towards a Meso, who can definitely stand up tall, especially with the Karma shields. Trying to compete. Good Malignant's Mantra Q for Jito. They'll push them off the camps, but Snow was still the sacrifice.
Yeah, this is what I was saying earlier about the Olaf, which we had this whole conversation without the Olaf present, which is, I think, the scariest part is some good damage there from Forsen. And Levitate, my friend.
What a juke! Oh, he got flashed on, and he's dead.
Not where he needs to be.
And one more auto. All right, well.
It's fun while it lasted.
You know, he survived longer than I thought he would for a guy who didn't get to play the game for 10 minutes.
That's fairly impressive. It's a weird little, like, you ever do like a drill in a sport or like something in a class where you're like, I'm never gonna use this in real life? I feel like that's where Snow is at or Levitate's at right now. Like, when will you ever use this in an actual game?
Okay, good flash there from Forsen to get away from Snow. Very low heal popped by Mixture to make sure that Forsen is very far from death. They do end up getting that mid-tier 1 turret down as well, so they get more lines set up. Jito eats 1 axe, has to flash. Will the speed up be enough? Not if the turret gets turned off by the odd orange, and the coach for Team Fish Taco will fall. Good hostile takeover though from Snow. Hits 3 people, but there's no follow-up damage across from TFT. Lotus get out with another fight win per standard.
It's kind of weird saying that Jito's not the reason they're losing this game. Jito's actually has not been that bad on this Karma so far. You know, obviously is losing to the Olaf. Who knows how it would have gone if it was actually a 5v5 and the odd orange had normal ganking pathing, because, you know, did spend a lot of time bot side. But so far, Jito believers stand up. It's been a good Jito game.
Sure, we'll figure out, you know, once we get further in the series if we have Tony Top back, but for now, Sudsy is getting ganked by everybody. Good flash over the wall. No Stormbringer for odd orange, so they can't follow up. But flash is not a good thing to lose on Malzahar.
Oh boy, Snow too.
All right, he gets the good slam on the handshake, but it's just so. Yeah, Team Fish Taco not gonna be able to hold their own jungle for very long. Baron, I'm assuming, will likely get started on spawn here if you're Lotus, who've now push their gold lead up to about 7,000.
Make that more.
8.
After taking that turret, 8,000. Yeah, they've gotten almost every single outer, just waiting on the top inner, or every inner and outer, I suppose, just waiting on the top inner. They have vision of the jungle.
Yep.
By Amazo.
I mean, not enough damage to kill him off yet. Remember, he is 3-0 with 2 items. So if there's one guy on TFT that can kind of fight his way through some of these picks, it's going to be Amazo.
If Snow 2 can get a big ultimate and Amazo is able to free hit on Forsen, they might go 1 for 5. That's how confident I am.
That sounded like an actual hype up moment, and then you said 1 for 5. I'm like,
yeah.
Right.
I just have to temper everyone's expectations. All the TFT fans in the chat probably have to be realistic about this game. But it is a best of 3. It is a best of 3, and this is winners. So even if you lose this, you're not out. So it's not the end of the world. It's the good part of it. As Sudsy
might be the end of this this life for Sudsy. Yep, there he goes, falls down, Forsen gets the pick, and I wonder if they'll just turn on to Baron, grabbing one of those members that isn't severely malnutritioned for Team Fish Taco. And yep, they're gonna start the Baron. I don't even think TFT can really contest it.
No. I would agree with that statement. And then I also don't think there's anything they can really do about the waves. I mean, I guess you throw Malzahar in one lane and Jito in another and hope for the best, but it's going to be a tough one. And this is what I was going to say. This is where we're at in the game right now. We're death brushing, which is actually the correct move. You know, you kind of got to pray for something, I suppose, but
oh, well.
I don't know if their prayers are going to be answered.
And they're starting to drag in. Snow's got a pretty good hostile takeover angle if he wants to take it. He knows he's not on vision anymore. Porsche also here. Teleported in to make sure no funny business happens. And Soul Point will be secured there for Lotus. No fight to come out, and they'll just continue shoving in those waves.
Yeah, they have top shoved in as well, so they realize that they don't have to shove that. They don't have bot. You know, the one positive here is that Team Fish Taco was able to shove bot. But now they have to book it to top and mid as both of those lanes are being shoved in. Levitate. 3 levels down. A lot of CS down. Doesn't have an item yet. Not ideal, as this top tower is getting smacked upon.
Yeah, and he's losing. He's lost a lot of areas to safely farm by this point, right? There's only 1 tier 2 turrets standing. Looks like Team Fish Taco will try put up a fight here. But this is where the Hui damage and the range really comes into a factor. The severing strikes, severing bolts can really hurt. Crushing maws that come across, and a cannon staying up valiantly. Oh, there's a good kill from Levitate, so they'll survive for another wave.
Porsche is getting ran at by 5 people, and somehow, someway, I still think Porsche should win if he ulted, which is, I think, the scary part.
You don't think he actually wins 1 for 5?
I don't know, man. If he ults, nah, I guess the Graves is 3-0. I keep having to remember that Amazo is actually doing fairly well for themselves. 193 CS
I'm actually
on jungle.
pretty certain he's up gold, by the way.
I mean,
he's up 1,800 gold.
This Volibear, I mean, to be fair, Amazo has just been able to farm bot and hasn't have to worry about ganking a lot or taking neutral objectives. But I don't know if it's enough on the Graves. Graves is maybe at least it's a carry jungler. Imagine if Amazo had chose like Maokai or something. It would have been a horror. I think it's still a horror.
It's not a good game state. I guess I appreciate Team Fish Taco for playing this one out at least.
Oh, Jito, no.
I mean, he's not even gonna push out. He's not even gonna jump out of the brush. Oh, he might now. All right, they've got Robbie Bob and Forsen here. These are the people you want to try and kill off. Robbie Bob's already down. That's a great hostile takeover from Snow. Amazo's going forward. They get Forsen as well. Stormbringer back in from the Odd Orange. Porsche showing up as well, looking to pop the Ragnarok. And they're going to go after Amazo. Good stun comes across. Levitate is as good as dead. Odd Orange gets that one. Amazo, very much so, not favored in this 1v1. Will eat an axe. But man, did TFT put up a fight.
Yeah, that was impressive. Hats off to them right there. They got 2 for 2, 3 for 2 for 3. Still,
2 shutdowns.
I mean that's much better than I think everybody would have expected. So hats off for Team Fish Taco. They win the effort award in my eyes, which is Not the game. They're not going to win the game, but they win the effort award. It's less important and nobody knows about it. I just made it up. But they won it.
I mean,
So
you're just basically quoting what people would call a participation trophy.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And everyone loves participation trophies. There's
I
nobody
I
has any issues with participation trophies. Everybody loves
yeah.
it. Uh-oh, Gino.
Gino's gonna get the turret. I mean, this is honestly worth. You saw he got 360 gold for getting the turret objective bounty. So you take that, right? And he's gonna die to Robbie
I
Bob.
guess. Yeah.
But that's gold back, to be honest. And okay, hold on, that's Lista ult, and they go nowhere.
You'd have to start wondering about Team Fish Taco's mental at this point.
I mean, I feel like if this game's shown anything, it's a pretty good result. But it also could just be, it's either like really good or really bad. I don't think there's like any in between.
I think they're probably having fun with it. If you take this game too seriously, you're just gonna wear yourself out. So if I'm Gito right now, what I'm telling my players is just have fun. We're gonna lose this game. See if we can't have a miracle win, and if we can't, it's fine. And it seems like they're playing that way, with the same kind of reckless abandonment you would hope out of your team that's 4v5 with a sub-coach top.
Yeah, I mean, given the scenario, this game, like, I know this sounds so copium, but given the
11,000
scenarios, this
gold.
is like not as bad as it should be on face value. Like face value,
I
this
mean,
should have been an FF, like in my mind, you know?
T1 would have beaten Mad Lions by now. So
Nice.
I guess you can, yeah, all my EU fans in chat can mold about that, I suppose. Yeah, I don't know. Again, I apologize if I'm not at my normal cadence. I just don't know how to react to this game. I'm completely thrown off my temperament, but that doesn't mean it's not fun. But I think this will be Soul, and then I think they're probably going to take the next Baron in 30 seconds, and then they're probably going to win the game. And then we'll get to go to a game 2.
Yeah, I mean, I would assume Team Vistaco are going to try and stand up, maybe at this Baron. They have, like, no vision over there. Vito's just now getting some set up in their own jungle. Porsche's going to have teleport, though, too, as well, so realistically kind of just throw him on that bot wave, keep shoving it in, or keep shoving it mid-wave in as well. And yeah, I would predict that Lotus is going to jump on Baron. Team Vistaco tries to save the game off that fight, loses, and then they just teleport bot. That's my crystal ball prediction.
Not a bad one. Not a bad crystal ball prediction at all, but I will raise you one better. They're just going to get bled out of this game. That's my crystal ball prediction. They're not even going to go for it.
Well,
They're just going to... I mean, to be fair, if the longer they let this game go, the closer Levitate gets to Forsen, I guess, in a way. So, although he's about to get double flame horizon.
yeah, man. All right, well, they get the Baron for free, and like you were talking about, Bonfire, the good old 1-3-1 takes all the inhibitors.
And then, yeah,
This one should be wrapped up. I'm just waiting for the last fight. Like, Team Vistaco, they're gonna try one more fight, and
They are trying, by the way. They are actually trying to win this game. They're not completely laying down. They're playing it like you would a competitive game. They are trying to set up lanes. They're trying to not give up too much at once. Like, they're not completely throwing in the hat in the ring. It's just,
you mean the towel?
It's not the towel, exactly. Thank you.
I think throwing the hat in the ring is like saying you want to fight. By the way, like throwing your like you see throw your hat in the ring for it's like I throw my hat in the ring to get elected.
Yeah. It's like you want in.
Oh,
bye Levitate.
Chance of corruption. Yeah, Levitate. He's dead. So this will be it, I assume. Snow flashes away as well. Sprout and Despair lands right on Sudsy's head. Eats the Severing Bolt. Triple inhibitors are down. Super's already pushing in some of these waves. And I'm spelling not even a reset here for Lotus. They're going to get these waves pushed on up and crash down. Turret turned off there by Auto Orange. He's leading the charge. Sudsy's already gone. Amazo not going to be able to fight against all of the members of Lotus. Team Fish Taco are thrown up against their turrets. And that one should do it, folks. Certainly the weirdest game of the qualifiers.
Maybe the weirdest game I've ever cast.
Yeah, that's a pretty fair argument as well there, Bonfire. And this post game I feel like isn't going to take very long. This was just an unfortunate scenario that we ran into, and Team Fish Taco, at least we could say they did the best with what they were given.
Yeah, they were in a horrendous situation and they fought for their lives and they lost. But we will forever remember the weird game where Levitate DC'd and Tony Top didn't show up. So it's etched in the history books. But now we got to move forward, and Lotus have a 1-0 lead. So if you're TFT, you got to just mentally reset and imagine that UFF'd the first game, right, or something of that magnitude, and just clear the mental and I guess hope for a better game too.
Yeah, cross your fingers. We will go to a break here to get set up for game number 2. Team Fish Talk will have side selection. We hope Tony Top got through, got his client all set up fine, and Levitate's internet seemed good from the end of that game. So hopefully we'll get the first real game of the series, and it's gonna have to be Team Fish Taco pushing it the distance, or this thing will wrap up in a very disappointing manner. Until then, stick right with us. Well, folks, we're back quickly. The players want to get right into game number 2, given everything. And as you can see on your screen, and I'm happy to announce, Tony Top is here. He's got all of his client issues figured out. So we can put that game 1 in the rearview mirror, Bonfire, in every aspect, except the fact that it's still fearless. So some of those champions won't be available. That's why you can see that Team Fish Taco, they banned away that Karma. They know they can't pick it in this game, despite how much they want to forget about game number 1.
Yeah, the Karma, one of the stronger picks. I totally forgot that it was Fearless as well. There's a lot of pretty strong champions off the board now for um, TFT, and I feel like they probably would want them back after that horrendous game 1 where everything went wrong. But nevertheless, they must progress. Lucian, not a bad pick at all. I think has been very strong this season, and it feels like it's always very strong. Whenever there's scaling bot laners, Lucian always kind of wiggles his way back into the meta because you want to be able to punish them. So with Smolder being so good and Zeri kind of coming back into prominence, out comes Lucian.
Lucian out. We'll see if Melio is going to be picked up in the next phase. Because remember, Melio was selected by Lotus, so they have no way to like counter this besides banning in phase 1. So I like that decision. Lotus, though, will get Forsen and Mixture on the Lovers duo, which has seen, a bit of a downturn compared to the last couple of splits, I feel like, but is always kind of reliable, especially for what you get in lane with them.
Yeah, I feel like they're not nearly as meta as they once were, but like you said, all reliable. You know what you're getting out of it. Scaling, one of the best scaling AD carries in the game, and a very strong self peel scaling AD carry at that. And then Rakan, just one of the best engaged supports in the game, always. So I think that while they might not be super meta, comfort is also something to keep in mind. Force and Mixture, I'm sure they've played them a million times. On the other side of things, like you said, that Melio very strong alongside the Lucian. So they are going to opt for that strong pairing, and then they're going to grab themselves the Oriana and Sudsy. This is just one of his best weapons in his entire arsenal. And so I'm not surprised to see that. The question is with Oriana, who do you pair that with? Because Oriana ball delivery system is 100% a thing, and indeed the band's going to come out, the respect band, the Nocturne Oriana ball delivery system is, I think, the strongest combo you can go.
Certainly one of those S tier ones, right, with how you can maximize the range on the ball. You get it a lot further away as long as you time the cast of it with Nocturne ulting. That's certainly good bam. Robbie Bob was banned away from his Victor in game number 1. That is one of his staple champions. So while him locking that in signifies a very snoozer mid lane matchup, once this game really starts revving up, both these guys, you mentioned Sudsy's ability on the Oriana, Robbie Bob's Victor, right in that same category for me. Will be very fun to see how these guys can act in fights, being the main magic damage dealing threats, likely for both of these comps.
Yeah, I was about to say I really was hoping they would band out the volley bear, and indeed they did. The thing is, this does leave Wukong up for Amazo, and I think this is a great Wukong game. Getting into onto Robbie Bob and Porsche, getting your ultimate off, and just being able to knock them up alongside the ball delivery system, very very strong. So it was banned out in game one. I would not be surprised to see Amazo be given the Wukong, especially in this instance. I will say Jarvan's pretty good against Wukong, so maybe they choose against it. Poppy's not a bad shout. Against Jarvan, very, very good. But it doesn't really get as much mileage against the other three picks.
I think it gets good miles against the Rakan. Uh,
Yes, I've Rakan 100%. Yeah, I.
it's all right. Hey, that's what I'm here for. That's why I'm here as well, right? Is just to back up. Yeah. So you pick the Poppy for dash cancellation. Sejuani though is certainly an Amazo pick as well. So that fortifies your tank, brings you a lot more crowd control that you needed with virtually zero coming out of your bottom lane. I like that pick a lot, especially if Amazo can play that, enabler role that he certainly can, given the level of talent all around the rest of his squad. And we know Tony Top doesn't play
Whoa.
tanks top. Man, that guy made a career out of all these carries, all the carry ability. He's gonna lock in the Jace.
He's been posting clips on Twitter or on X, I suppose, of his Jace. So really loving the Jace right now. I think that this is not a great Jace game, but I don't know, man. You get ahead on Jace. Every game is a good Jace game. So we'll have to see. I would have liked to see a high auto attack champion alongside the Sejuani. My first initial thought was a good Jax game, but Jace again. If you can get ahead on Jace, you're never mad that you have a Jace on your team. So they are going to go with the Jace. On the other side of things, I think Lotus have done a really good job of having a mix of damage, tankiness, and CC engage. Jarvan and Malphite, sorry, really good engage alongside the Rakan, just pair super well off of each other, which should give this Zaya a lot of space to play off alongside the Victor. And then you've got a good mix of AD and AP damage, and then Jarvan does sneaky damage as well. You can't let Jarvan just wail onto your backline. So I do really like Lotus's comp. I think that it's a bit more waterproof, leak proof, we'll say. Like some things could go wrong, and I still think it could out team fight this Tony Top. See, I'm just so used to it. This Team Fish Taco Squad. But on the other side of things, I do feel like there's much higher highs for this TFT squad.
Yeah, they're certainly looking to. They need to get a lane win. Right, they have to get Levitate going on this Lucian, which is one of his best picks. Also, by the way, and
Yeah.
when it comes to fights, I think it can get difficult because they do play like both these comps want to play to fight and find picks, right? You got a Sejuani, you got an Oriana. Like they're gonna look for picks. Jarvan, Malphite, they can find picks really well. Back up this Zaya. You know, if you get a good Cataclysm, you can make sure Robbie Bob gets a gravity field down, so everybody's stunned in this Cataclysm. Like, there's a lot of great disruption on both sides, and both comps kind of really want to fight. But Team Fish Taco, the main point, I'm curious if you back me up on this one. With the Jason and Lucian, they got to find early avenues to success and really spike hard in the mid game because those two damage champions, all your AD damage can kind of falter if a game goes on too long.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you there. I think also, we don't really. I feel like casters have a tendency to not touch on it a lot, but you have to think about as a jungler, you need to have pushing lanes to be able to get really any breathing room in your own jungle. Mezo's going to have a fantastic game to be able to move freely around the map. I just imagine Tony Top and Levitate are constantly going to be able to have first roam and get waves shoved in. Sudsy and Robbie Bob, it's kind of a toss up depending on. Um, who has a better early game. I think Sudsy probably has first push until the second cast of the E, where the ground ruptures twice.
Mhm.
So when you think about shoving lanes, I do think that if they can abuse this Jarvan, that will be one avenue where they could potentially get those early leads, like you were talking about.
Well, early lead's going to be a big thing to watch out for Team Fish Taco, and in general for TFT. Must-win territory. We don't need to talk too much more about the game one shenanigans, but it put them in the hole regardless. And if they want to get a spot already into playoffs, something they desperately need as they only finished sixth in the first OQs for a team that needs promotion, in the words of their owner Sherv back in December. This is the biggest game so far of their season, the qualifiers. We'll begin to it once we get through our integrity spectator delay. So on the other side of that, stick with us, and I'll see you then. Welcome back once more, ladies and gentlemen. Team Fish Taco taking on Lotus Esports for a shot at playoffs in our second qualifiers NACL. It's a mouthful. It feels a mouthful as the longer you go in, but luckily, game number 2, no issues, no internet problems, full rosters. This is what we all came to see tonight, Bonfire.
Yeah, I feel like we get to actually watch League of Legends, which is exciting, versus whatever that was in the last game. So I'm just happy, it's the same thing with traditional sports. Whenever you watch a team that should be a good matchup and one team has like an injury bug or something, it's like, well, it doesn't feel like we're getting them at their full strength. So it is fun to watch these two teams battle it out with their full rosters, and hopefully it ends up being a good one. And hopefully, well, I was gonna say hopefully this goes to 3, but honestly, I'm happy if it goes to 3 or if it ends now. I'm just hoping that this game is good.
Remember that old debate we had on that other cast about First Strike versus BTA Lucian? We're gonna
Well,
rub it in my
yes,
face that Levitate just got First Strike Gold.
I'm not, but I think that we had this discussion because we were both excited. Both of them are very good rooms, and I think that they're both very applicable in multiple different areas.
Well, I would agree in this game that First Strike is the better one. And there it is, procced again, by the way. Get some
Oh,
more
wow.
gold out of that. Levitate. Listen, we talked about in draft, right? You pick Lucian Melio because you need to have success early. This Team Fish Taco comp is going to look to have a lot more onus in that part of the game, and Tony Top's pick is the other reason why, is you see him barreling down onto Porsche's Malphite.
Yeah, like I said, it's the idea that of early shoving lanes. Keep an eye on this Sejuani. Started on the buff, did not need a leash. Wanted to allow the Lucian to get some early damage across, which did indeed end up happening. But keep an eye on where this Sejuani goes, because I would be pretty sure that it's not going to be solely in their own jungle. Get some help with the shoving lanes and make the other junglers' life a living hell.
Well, Lotus have been able to keep an eye on Amazo, right? Because that ward spotted him going for his Raptors. It's going to be full clears, though, still. Actually clearing a bit quicker than Auto Orange is right now, I believe, but it does help that Auto Orange has a pretty good idea of what the path is going to look like from Amazo going forward. That's Ignite dropped on Forsen's head by Levitate. Kind of just a respect Ignite there to add extra pressure, maybe not looking for the kill necessarily.
Yeah, it's something that you'll see a lot in the LCK, and I know other leagues are doing it as well. And it's not to try to kill somebody, which Ignite is often done for, but it's to try to get just lane prio. It's to get some extra damage across, it's to force them back, and to ensure that, if you're are ever in any danger, if your jungler needs any help, you are there and you have first roam. So whether Levitate or not wanted to get that kill, or this is that tech that I was talking about earlier, obviously we have no way of knowing, but either way, I think that it has applicable use in instances.
We saw one of those come alive just a couple of seconds ago. Full clears done for both junglers. They're handshaking the Scuttle Crabs. And here is where we'll finally likely see some action. It's not Amazo that is onto this bot side, though. It is Odd Orange. And Snow a little too far forward. Actually already had a burn flash. They get the flag and drag knockup. Snow is on an island right now. Couple more shields won't save him. Forsen gets first blood. Pressure alleviated for Lotus.
Yeah, Snow and Levitate just not on the same page right there. If they want to push and they want to get trades off, that's fine and dandy. But it feels like Levitate needs to be there as well fighting. And Levitate was backing off. Snow has to burn the flash just out of respect, which causes it not to be it to be on cooldown when the Jarvan does end up ganking. So bit of a miscommunication, and believe me, with a team as good as Lotus, they will snatch that up in a heartbeat. They get themselves the early lead.
Amazo canceling the back of Odd Orange, just being a little pesky. I think Levitate also, you can see his mana bar there.
Yeah.
It was just really low from the get-go. Don't know if he had enough for a full, real Lucian combo in that exchange anyways. So partially might have been why they backed up. They also knew that Amazo was topside, so gotta think, okay, if Amazo's not running into Odd Orange in the topside river, he's probably somewhere bot side on his clear. And yeah, you talked about, right, that over-aggression from the early push kind of bites them in the butt. And it just helps out twofold for Lotus because of how they want to play this early game. They were fine, coming away with a bit of a loss with their Isaiah, their Victor that can scale up really well. But getting a lead on one of those carries is just even more important.
Yeah, and keep an eye on Amazo now because the pressure is kind of on the jungler to help out this bot lane to ensure that they don't go even through the rest of lane. They have to continue to play aggressive. They have to continue to push the issue, and they cannot get complacent. You know, we've talked about this quite a bit. This is a lane that needs to win. This is a lane that needs to get into the mid game with a lead. Right now, doing a good job of it in the CS department, but obviously with that kill down, they're definitely going to need some jungle support and some help to ensure that they are able to stomp as much as I think they need to.
Does look like Amazo's going to index into just full clearing his top side, get as much control of that quadrant, because the reason the gold lead is still in TFT's hands, mightily due to Tony Top, who has been unrelenting with this Jace. Every time we flashed up top here, Porsche's farming under turret. That CS lead has grown to about a kill's worth of gold. Why this game is still even despite the early woes to the bot side for Team Fish Taco.
Yeah, I think it was a little bit expected. Jason to Malphite. You know, they were joking about it in chat before we got in, and they were telling Snow 2 was joking to Porsche, you know, I thought you were an egoist. I thought you wanted to go into a really difficult matchup and, you know, show that you could stomp it. And he said, this is the ego pick. And it certainly can be, but I think he was just messing around because realistically, Porsche was put on tank duty. Porsche, I think, knows his role, which is to just soak a lot of the damage and to ensure that Tony Top doesn't get too crazy ahead. You know, if you do take that ego matchup and you lose, it's a horror going into a Jace. So fall a little bit behind, give this Jace a little bit of a lead, but late game still be a huge problem.
Yeah, just be a great facilitator, right? With that
Yeah.
unstoppable force. So look to be that threat later. That's going to be a good kickball there on the Levitate. Flash forward from him as well. Force it having a flash away on top of that Ignite Burn. Mixture, great grand entrance knockup to brunt Levitate, but that was certainly dicey from the Lotus bottom lane up too far this time.
Yeah, Lotus got a little bit of a scare there, but again, if you look back at it, nobody died, and it was an even trade of summoners. So I think if you're Lotus, you say, all right, you know, wipe my brow a little bit, but just on numbers and results, we're okay. You know, it was even as can be. So nothing too worrisome, and they can get their back off and get back to it. They're going to lose maybe a plate or two and some CS for that, but not as bad as it could have been if they ended up dying.
Off screen, we saw with the top lane pressure that Amazo on the Sejuani only took one of those Void grubs. We're getting some really aggressive positioning here, and Levitate actually just pops Forced, surprising me there between the turrets. Team Fish Taco have controlled that bottom lane once more.
Yeah, and Porsche's getting low. Mixture might get dove here. Doesn't have ultimate.
Snow has the turret aggro, but he's actually going to die. It's a double. Oh, and execute. No. Mixture actually comes out of the dive with a kill and a death. Topside, Tony Top having to flash out the Cataclysm from the odd orange. And the ebbs and flows of this game just continue.
Yeah, again, Slayer, it's just a miscommunication in the bot side. You have Snow 2 taking up all that damage. There was no grand entrance from this Rakan, and so they knew that, you know, the mobility was not going to be there. But the tanking, and it didn't feel like the damage was coming across from Levitate. He hadn't dropped his full burst yet. That is a disaster right there because they should have been able to get some plates. Mixture just gifts one back.
I was just, okay. I assume he didn't respect the Sejuani damage enough, right?
I guess.
Stun chains.
Greed.
Yeah.
Had flash too.
Yeah, the stun chains, you know, once you get that passive stun and then you have the Glacial Prison up, can really hurt. So that's, like you mentioned, gold back. Kind of evens this game out a bit more here.
Yeah, it actually does more than just even it. It gives this this TFT squad a bit of a lead. And they've got themselves a 700 gold lead, so it's not going to win games, but you just didn't need to be in that situation, and I'm sure Mixture is kicking himself right there, so should have to make up for it as this game continues on. I will say, you know, we've talked about it, you know, extensively. This Lotus squad, pretty okay with this game going even, or maybe falling into a bit of a deficit with some of these champions that they have. Just cannot fall too far behind. The snowball would be too much to deal with.
They're looking to just fight it through, though. Great double charm from Mixture. No Featherstorm comes out from Force in there. I guess they didn't think they had the kill threat ability, but they might here with Odd Orange now showing up. Actually looking for a dive. He does not have Cataclysm up just yet. Gotta think it's about 15 seconds away. He's gonna hover, likely waiting for it.
They could potentially look for a dive here, but they don't have the Rakan ultimate either.
It's up now, though.
Felt it on flash.
Cataclysm's up. Good dodge from Snow on the grand entrance. Amazo's here now as well. Make sure you're going to be able to dash back to safety with Forsen helping. Looks like they're just going to take the plates, but Amazo not going to let some of these exit routes come so easily to Odd Orange. And it will just be plates, but that certainly looked a lot scarier.
Yeah, could have gotten dicey right there. Bit of a miscommunication from Forsen and Mixture. That earlier ultimate from Mixture. Forsen did not have the feather pullback. Used it for trading just a couple of seconds prior. You'd have to imagine they want to sync those two up. One of the big reasons why these two champions are so strong in the bot lane together. So because of that, they weren't able to get lethal damage, and then it just gets awkward, right? This Rakan doesn't have the ultimate alongside the Jarvan. You miss the W and don't get the knock up on the Emilio, and then you don't really have a ton of great CC to just land perfectly. And everyone was able to escape with their lives, but could have been more, could have been less. At the end of the day, just walk away with some plates.
Plates mounting in the top side as well for Tony Top as he is pushing further for that fourth plate. One thing, the one issue that comes with Sejuani versus Jarvan is that they both don't really take grubs quick. And they both have opted to just grab one grub and walk away. And by this point in the game, I think we already lost the first set of grubs. We're on to the second set, and it does put us in that precarious situation you don't see too often in Season 14 Bonfire, where either team's really going to end up with a real advantage with turret pushes through those mites.
Yeah, and both of these junglers have been so often bot side that they really haven't had an opportunity to go for their grubs. Even if they wanted to, go for the grubs. Like you said, their champions aren't great for it. They can't clear it quick enough, and they just feel the pressure. You know, both of these bot lanes want to fight. They want to go for these trades, and you never want to be the last one to a party. And so we, like you said, it has been a game of dragons, which has gone the way of Lotus.
Oh, good dodge there from Levitate. Mixture so low as to flash, nearly dies to the culling. Blizzard Prison eaten by the Odd Orange. Featherstorm comes out as well from Forsen. Good root back. Now the quickness comes out. Great play, but Snow flashed away. Breath of Life, not enough to save him from Forsen's feathers. And Lotus come out again ahead in a bottom lane exchange.
It's just dipsy, derby, honky donkey, little strange fights that everybody's taking. And at the end of the day, it feels like Lotus is used to it. They were born in it, molded by the Darkness Slayer. I know you're a big Batman fan, so you'll like that one. Look, they got exactly what they needed there, and they get a kill. Levitate has to be careful.
Who drops the
Dodged
ignite?
out though.
Good job to dodge the root there.
Yeah,
But does have to use the ignite, like you mentioned, just to alleviate pressure. Should force a back out. Looks like he'll be able to get a decent, good shove in here. There's pinks coming out for that turret though. Amazo's in the area. Snow's back up. Mixture will spot them out, coming for Forsen, but I think he's cut off, and Forsen is good as dead. Does not have ult, has flash, but I don't think he's going to expend it. He just accepts his fate and will fall to Levitate.
Ooh.
Snow picked off in the background, but without turret aggro, Mixture can't get that kill. Snow picks the aggro back up, but he won't fall. Good pick. Great roam there from Amazo.
Yeah, I really like that from Amazo, and that's what I was talking about earlier. Hold on a second.
All right, Shockwave out. Good flash away from Sudsy as the stun comes across, but does have to pay the Cataclysm tax as another answer from the Odd Orange. These junglers going blow for blow.
Yeah, Tony Top has a teleport there as well, so that teleport burned. And Force should be able to get a wave shoved in because of that. No concern about Tony Top teleporting and potentially killing him, and so that was those were some precious summoners used right there. Sudsy flash, Tony Top teleport. But at the end of the day, it is just summoners. No gold being traded between them. And like you said, it really feels like both of these junglers are the ones dictating the pace of this game. They are the puppet masters. Everybody else is just at their whim, hanging on a string. So we will have to see if they can continue to control this game, or if it's going to, slip out of their hands. I do like that both of these junglers as well are on these picks that have the ability to be so high impactful. You know, this isn't your, Iverns or I'm trying to think of other champions like that. These are junglers that get out on the map early and, are trying to make things happen.
Certainly they've made a lot happen, and the biggest one is that Levitate has a lead. Great Glacial Prison, though. That was amazing from Amazo, no pun intended, but it gets a double over to Levitate, who's now on a killing spree. Tia Fish Taco have found their mid-game power spike through this Lucian now.
Yeah, and it feels like they're dancing. It really does feel like they're playing so perfectly as a team. I was talking earlier about some miscommunication, some misplays, no flash.
Oh yeah, Sudsy, great flash out of the Cataclysm. Sudsy gets the phase rush speed up. If he can dodge a flag and drag, he might have a shot, but he's getting slowed by the red buff. Looking to dance around, does dodge, gets under turn, but great flash forward. Robbie Bob secures the kill. Pick back to Lotus.
They are going to trade the Rift Herald out, but you take those kills. That is a huge gold influx, and you ensure, as hold on, Tony Top's going to get his backstop. I don't think there's lethal here, but Porsche does have ult.
Got a lot of damage
And,
coming down. He's holding
that
it,
Malphite-
waiting for the hammer
that
knockback.
Malphite-
There's the unstoppable force. Does he have enough? He will,
Oh.
and Porsche's ego pick works out. Solo kills Tony Top.
Yeah, and that's ego from Tony Top as well, because he could have flashed so many different times in that whole encounter, and he just was hoping that this Malphite didn't have the damage, and he did indeed. Porsche does have flash, so should be able to get away from Amazo. But like you said, I was joking about the ego pick, but it is true, man. Malphite, you ignore it, you don't think about it, and then suddenly that damage sneaks up on you, and you're dead, and you're thinking, where did it all go wrong?
Especially for a champion who isn't even a real bruiser, right? Sudsy isn't either, by the way. Still no flash. Gets thrown in the Cataclysm. Does he have enough of the Shockwave? No! And the Robbie Bob on Orange show, nightmare scenario for Sudsy as he dies them again.
Yeah, Sudsy's got to be so frustrated now, and it makes total sense on why you would be. You burn that flash on an early engage, and then this enemy jungler just gets a heat-seeking missile on you, and there's nothing you could do about it. Even use the ball to check if they were inside of there. It was too little too late, and Cataclysm sealed their fate.
Got another fight breaking out mid, though. Is Snow once again getting picked near the turret.
Oh.
There's the unstoppable force. They have Levitate pin. Gets a good dash away. Great kickball from Snow as well. On Orange, can't get a good engage. The flag drag, not enough. Cataclysm down. And then a Ram gets to take a breath.
Yeah, a lot of people almost died there. Snow 2 living on the edge of his teeth. You also have Levitate falling fairly low, but nobody falls, and that was without Sudsy. So that was a 4v5 for all intents and purposes. But it was an important one. They weren't fighting over nothing. It wasn't not just an NA ram for nothing. That is so point.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the whole point that they now have to give up. Now, you keep an eye on all the blue members in the bottom right of your screen. They are going over towards that Baron. And they're thinking, maybe we can set up some vision. It's not up for a while, but vision control near the Baron pit is very important. Even if it's not up for a while, just establishing that you have your foothold there, very important. They're going to roam a lot of members.
Ooh, that's a Chaos Storm down from Robbie Bob, whose Victor is very much online. This Victor 2-0 now. The Robbie Bob special. Sudsy knows it. Trying to set up for a dive. Robbie Bob knows what's coming, but he still gets too close to the shockwave. Mazo shows up to tank the damage. Couple more autos. Sudsy gets his revenge. Shutdown gold is the consolation prize.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Very well played. They roam everybody out. I think the ultimate from Robbie Bob there was, maybe if I clear the wave, they won't tower dive me. But my friend, they roamed enough and then some. And they knock him down. They get the shutdown. They make sure Sudsy doesn't fall too far out of this game. And Tony Top's able to grab himself a turret. So, big gold swing right there. Now, this TFT squad is up about 1,000 in Slayer. I just want to say we are so blessed that we get to watch this matchup.
Yeah, these two teams are really in peak form now, and Levitate knows it. Dropping the culling down, dodge down the quickness, dashing forward, but there's the charm. They got Levitate a little too far forward, the teleport behind, cuts off the support system, shutdowns galore once more. Porch gets another one. Lotus respond in droves to the pick play.
Well, this is going to go all 10 rounds, isn't it, Slayer? I think that this is a title fight. And I don't think we're getting let out of this one until somebody is bleeding on the ground unconscious, which is just the way we like it. You know, we don't want somebody throwing in the towel early. We don't want somebody pulling their hamstring and having to call out of the fight and get a replacement. We want two heavyweight sluggers going pound for pound, blow for blow. And this is primetime television right here. 6 to 8 in kills, only 500. Actually, I take that back. 300 gold separating the two teams. And this is just an absolute beauty.
It's just the dichotomy of it, right? Is that every time Tifa's Taco finds a pick, right? It seems that Lotus answers. Or the other way around, right? Auto Orange,
Yep.
Robbie Bob, they start off picking off Sudsy a couple times. What does the response look like? Amazo and Sudsy, they get that shutdown on Robbie Bob. There's our revenge. What does Lotus respond with? They get a shutdown of their own on to Levitate's Lucian, and Yeah, I mean, I know I'm reinforcing it, but like you talked about, these are the most fun games between two high-caliber opponents when they are just matching each other in almost every aspect. The only thing that's really giving Lotus the edge right now is the fact they'll have an Infernal Soul on their hands in about 2.5 minutes' time.
Yeah, but they're about to lose all of their outers, which is going to feel pretty tough for their map control. And it is going to mean that this gold should swing over to the side of TFT. And with the Dragon coming up soon, about 2 minutes, losing all those outers feels really, really rough for being able to set up vision. So keep an eye on that bottom one. It's fallen fairly low. Tony Top has been slamming on it. That would be, well, I mean, talk about very, very low. That is one auto away, my friend. And I believe that, yep, Porsche's going to concede it. He's going to say, you know what, you win. You roamed everyone over. I get it. And it is indeed going to fall.
They're dropping Shelly behind as well. Want to keep that push up. I'm assuming to allow them to set up really aggressive wards, because like you mentioned, big win con for Lotus will be how early they get that Infernal Soul. Tony Top's going to take a ride, but oh no, he went the wrong way. Okay, well, Shelly not even going to get a crash, but I think the intended use is still there. You can see the vision for Team Fish Taco decently great around that river now.
Yeah, they've done a good job. I will say, by roaming so many people over and not getting a charge on it, it does mean that they gave Robbie Bob a ton of time in the top side. And he took the entirety of the turret alongside a couple of waves. So this Victor is not going to be quietly scaling up anymore. I think he's screaming it from the rooftops, I am a threat. And I think Team Fish Taco would be fools to not listen. Because once this Victor hops into this next fight, I think we'll start to see that this damage is something. And they set up all that vision. The issue with setting up vision, with still a lot of time to go for the Dragon, is you have to really guard it. They did not do so. Forsen just walked over and cleared it all out.
Yeah, now it's dark over there, like you mentioned. Speaking on that, Victor, Robbie Bob does have the 2-item advantage over Sudsy, which is not one the Levitate holds anymore over Forsen. But there's the calling out as the NA ramp continues. Auto Orange able to get out pretty safe. Not a key ultimate down, but an impactful one nonetheless. Still out of it. And Auto Orange still looking pretty healthy. Amazo just trying to walk up to that brush, but like you talked about, there's no vision. He could be the only one that can really face check here for Team Fish Taco. Auto Orange is just going to buy time. They know position they hold. Lotus, the power they hold, playing towards that river.
Yeah, they're going to shut out wave here. The question is, do they afterwards go for a second tower in the mid wave, or do they really turn for this Dragon? Hold on.
That's Glacial Prison onto Porsche, who does flash away, but that's the tank frontliner who's happy to eat it. And now you can see the Forsen's just on this Dragon. They're burning it down as Team Fish Taco are now just getting towards the river. It's below 2k HP. Amazo can't even get in, and they're going for a fight. Levitate eats the knockup from Porsche's Malphite, but what a shockwave back from Sudsy. No damage to follow it up, though. Levitate got pushed out. Tony Top not close enough, and everyone walks away with just a couple of scrapes and bumps.
Yeah, scrapes and bumps. Their knees are going to be bruised, but you see the school nurse, and you'll be fine in a day. And they feel fine right now. They're ready to go back out into the schoolyard, want another go at it because they just got themselves a big prize. That is soul. That's not soul point, my friend. That is the whole shebang-a-bang. They grabbed themselves Infernal, which means every single ultimate, every single ability and auto is going to hurt just a little bit more. And that's dangerous. When a game is this close, any little bit more damage that you can get is that much more important. You were talking about the items being in favor of Robbie Bob there rather than Sudsy, and it mattered just a little bit more. It's a game of inches, my friend. And they're showing up with feet.
Yeah, I mean, if the Shockwave can punch harder, might be a whole different fight, like you were talking about. Now, this also brings into the conversation how early of an Elder Dragon we potentially could have, right? An Elder fight could potentially could be seen if we get to that 28-minute mark, 29-minute mark. The Lotus certainly feel like they are in control, and they've done such a good job with vision all series long. Got the entire top river nearly in their favor, and they're using it to go on to Sudsy, who flashes early. Great Cataclysm. The Auto Orange knew exactly how to set this up, and Robbie Bob will knock it down. Sudsy falls once more, and Team Fish Taco have to scramble with Baron up.
Yeah, I think that's the go for Baron. That's one of your main carries down. That's all of your AP down.
And Snow, he's caught and dead. One Flagging Drag gets it. Another pick to Lotus. Now a 3v5, but the Baron has to feel like a guarantee for this squad at this point.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything that this TFT squad can do, but by damn, they're going to go for it. They have to. It's desperation. but it's not an impossibility.
Mixture waiting on the side, gets the quickness down, but hasn't gotten a target. Flash forward, they're trying to burn through Levitate the Chaos Storm. Robbie Bob has it. The main carry damage down once more for Team Fish Taco. Amazo and Tony Top running away, but a flag and drag will get Tony Top caught, fallen as well. Lotus looks so polished and precise in these team fights, but a shockwave could change it if it only didn't just hit Robbie Bob.
Yeah, Robbie Bob. I mean, he's Victor, right? He's already walking a little bit funny. He's doing fine for himself, so able to walk that one off. And again, how many bodies are they going to throw at this big purple worm? TFT is still hanging around the area. They're still in the vicinity. But there's a big bouncer at the door, my friend, and if you've ever been to a bar, you know that that bouncer ain't budging for nobody.
Oh, and the bouncer just knocked them up twice more with the unstoppable force. What a cataclysm as well. It's too damn clean from Lotus Esports right now as they find kill after kill at the Baron Pit. They're going to take a threshold on this game number 2 and are looking to punch their ticket to the NACL qualifier playoffs.
Yeah, and I think that TFT thinks that that's the right move. You have to keep throwing bodies at it. If you lose the Baron, you lose the game. But realistically, not only did they lose the Baron, I think they lost a total of 4 or 5 different members just multiple times over, continuously throwing just members at the problem, but they were never succinct. They never had all 5. And this Lotus team will punish you for that. It is a dangerous, dangerous flower, my friend. And they deflower their enemy.
Bounties on 4 members of Lotus. The one avenue they were kind of lacking in, like you talked about earlier, Bonfire, was turrets. They've now taken the lead in that aspect. They still have Baron going for a little bit longer. A couple minutes,
I think
would
a
assume.
while longer.
Yeah, a couple minutes at least. And there's some tier 2s to knock down. And back to that conversation we had at draft, which makes this worse for Team Fish Taco, is now this Victor, he's already been online. Since already so back much in this game as well. Near 3 items. Azaya and Victor, if you space right in these fights, I don't know how TFC's comp can deal with them.
Yeah, and it's not hard to space right. You have, hold on.
And Snow's just dead again. Great pick over to Odd Orange. The Cataclysm forward. Levitate can't flash out of it. These picks are just so precise from Lotus. Deadly accuracy, and it's going to break the TFT base open.
Slayer, I don't know if I'm crazy for saying this. This might be the best iteration of Lotus I've ever seen. They look so strong right now, and this is not a bad Team Fish Taco squad by any means. But the fact is, they're making them look like children. The way that they're playing around these team fights is so unbelievable. They're just layering the CC.
Yeah, and here they go again. Knockups don't land this time for Mixture, but the pressure is still there. The wave's shoved in, an inhibitor down, and look what's up in less than a minute. Bonfire.
Yeah, I think that their base is just going to be in shambles. Team Fish Taco, I mean, they have to go out somehow. I think they have to fight over it. If you lose Elder, it is the strongest buff in the game. And I think that would probably be the killing blow. You have to hope for a miracle team fight, potentially. Especially if you can kill Robbie Bob. Maybe if you can kill Forsen as well. I mean, the one positive here is that Robbie Bob opting not to go defensive. Does have the Crypto Bloom, so there is going to be healing there. But
but look who they pick over and over again. Snow dies once more to the might of Mixture and Odd Orange. And the vision power just too great for TFT to overcome. They lose their support, and he won't be up when Elder spawns.
Yeah, Snow 2 looking like my placement games right now. 0-8, just one to forget. Amazo has to do what he can.
Yeah, but look at Mixture and Odd Orange again. They find the carries time after time. Cataclysm dunk to sing it home. Tony Top falls, and Lotus, they might not even need Elder to close this one out. What a game.
It's rock solid to Jarvan, to Rakan, and if that's not enough damage, Zaya and the Victor are going to be the welcoming hands. And it's going to welcome them to the next stage because they are going to win this one now. A beautifully played game. And these death timers are too much. There's nothing that they can do. The culling is just tickling the Odd Orange. Lotus! Game 1 was a fluke. Game 1 was weird. Game 2 was convincing.
Lotus Esports finished 4th in OQ1 and have now solidified a top 8 finish in OQ2. And boy, is that going to feel sweet because I'm not a point master. I'm sure people will figure it out. There might be somebody in Twitch chat saying it. But with that top 8 finish with the top 4 from last one, I think Lotus is nearly or already confirmed to be another promotion team. They got to be the next closest alongside Blue Water.
You'd have to imagine. I think that this is one of the teams that's been scraping, chomping at the bit for an opportunity to be in the NACL for a while now. They've been looking for the squad that's going to carry them over the finish line. And after this performance today, it's hard not to think that they at least don't have a shot here and they don't have an opportunity. It feels like this was one of their most convincing series, and it was a bit weird. We've talked a lot about how strange this first game was, but at the end of the day, I mean, come on. That second game was how League is supposed to be played. Just beautifully, beautifully layered CC. They got out of a tough early game with some really difficult champions to play against, and they grabbed themselves the win.
Certainly a very wonky series, right? I know everyone, I was very hyped to watch these two teams go blow to blow. We had the game one, there was a catastrophe for multiple reasons, but like you mentioned, Lotus, they keep their mental strong and they play their game, and boy did they win it 2-0. Important to mention though, Team Fish Taco, this was not an elimination game. They do have a chance to get into the playoffs where they'll have a chance to play for the automatic qualifier bid that comes if you do win the second qualifiers. You automatically earn a spot. So they're not out of it yet, but and it's hard to criticize them too much given all the scenarios that were thrown at them from just the get-go, Bonfire.
Yeah, and like you said, like it was a very difficult series, and there was just a lot of strange things that happened. Um, but at the end of the day, you can't make excuses. You have to understand that like things happen. And I hope for this Team Fish Taco squad that they just shake it off. And I really hope we get to see this iteration again because they have more to give. I know they do. They just, they need, I guess, to just go back to the drawing board and figure out what to fix. And I really do hope that this is not the last of TFT we see.
Well, it certainly won't be the last of Lotus, and if you stick around as we are ending up shop here on the Salt Mine, it could not be the end of your viewing pleasure when it comes to the Tier 3 qualifier scene, because the other side of this Group D bracket is going on through Running the Rift. You've got BlackRock Esports versus Reeliminate GG, and I checked in just to be sure for all you guys at home. It's going to a game 3. So the winner of that series will take on this Team Fish Taco squad, and they will be playing not only for elimination, but the winner to qualify and secure top 8. So that one certainly will be a good one to watch if you are keeping your eyes peeled as a Lotus, as a TFT fan, especially to see what their next opponent could look like. But for myself and Bonfire, it certainly did not go the way we expected. It's always a pleasure to have everybody here. It's been a blast getting to cover the further stage outside of Swiss when it comes to the qualifiers. All of us from the Salt Mine are very appreciative of Rally Cry for allowing us to do this and allowing all you guys to watch the games at home in almost live coverage feed. But for now, make sure to go check out all the other community streams as they run. Salty Run Back. We're going to send you guys to Running the Rift. I see the Aegis Esports is still going with one of their coverage games, and we will be here back next week to cover those coveted losers bracket games that will decide what the top 8, what the playoff picture looks like for the North American Challengers League second qualifying bout. But until then, enjoy as much of the week as you can, and I expect to see you guys right back here next Saturday. Take care.